Let's be careful to not let ADHD become a catch-all phrase for any type of poor behavior we see in a child. Today, we're going to define 5 behavior issues you might not know about that a child can have, which are not ADHD. But these 5 are often confused with ADHD and, more unfortunately, treated with the wrong methods and, in some cases, as you'll see, with the wrong pharmaceuticals that can cause more harm. First, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for more health videos when they come out, and please like this video as that will make it easier for others to find this important information online. The 5 problems we're talking about are anxiety, depression, disruptive behavior, learning disabilities, and sensory integration disorder. We're not trying to make your life more complicated with these definition distinctions, but if we want to approach treatment and outcomes with a degree of scientific objectivity, an accurate understanding of child's behavior is needed. Unfortunately, we live in a time when all kinds of behavioral problems are herded under the umbrella of ADHD. But what if some attention problems have a different foundation? And what if psychostimulant medication isn't always the best response to behavioral problems, even to those that appear to involve hyperactivity? Let's take a look at each one of the 5 behavioral issues. Number 1, anxiety. Anxiety is a problem that may easily affect attention because a child can be preoccupied with internal thoughts or worries. As a consequence, he or she may appear to be zoning out. An important question to consider is whether your child is equally distracted when he or she is relaxed. If not, situational factors may be triggering anxiety and inattention. Sometimes children who do not know how to handle a worrisome situation or who have difficulty expressing their feelings clam up. Don't you have a harder time concentrating on work if you're nervous or worried about a personal situation? Sure, it's pretty common for a lot of us. It can be much more difficult for a child to articulate his or her worries. A concern that seems trivial to adults can cause great anxiety for a child. For example, one preschool boy was very worried in school until it was discovered that he was having trouble handling his buckles and snaps at the bathroom break, but was afraid to ask for help. A 7th grade girl couldn't focus in her language arts class because she was seated next to the girl who had mocked her in gym. Depression is a mood disorder which can impair executive thinking skills like working memory, cognitive flexibility, planning, and attention. Number 2, depression. Depression turns our mind's idle down, and as a result, we can appear out of it, but the cause is not ADHD. Irritability, lack of initiation or interest, and inattention may be symptoms of depression or ADHD. Of course, most children can't describe exactly what they feel or whether a mood problem or poor focus came first. In such cases, it is critical to evaluate a child's behavior in multiple contexts and to determine if an improvement in mood helps focus. 3. Disruptive behavior. Disruptive behavior is an especially prevalent problem in schools today. Some kids just won't settle down and are a significant learning liability for other students. Sometimes disruptive behavior is mistaken for hyperactivity. And indeed, hyperactivity may lead to disruptive behavior, but they are not the same thing. All kinds of kids can be disruptive, sometimes intentionally. A hyperactive child has trouble slowing down even though he may wish to. An intentionally disruptive child may be feeling frustrated by classroom expectations, rebelling against authority, developing self-control at a slower rate than peers, or seeking attention. If a child is invested in gaining attention through mischief, loudness, or intrusion, a medicine such as Ritalin is not likely the best course of treatment. Number 4, learning disabilities. Learning disabilities may affect one or more subject areas as well as social interaction. It stands to reason that if a child has a learning problem in reading, for example, he or she will be less attentive to that aspect of instruction. A learning disability can certainly be exacerbated by ADHD, but ADHD itself is better understood more as a learning liability than something like dyslexia or a specific learning disability. And number 5, SID. Sensory Integration Disorder, or SID, is a problem with either being oversensitive or undersensitive to sensory stimuli. These problems can make a child appear either hyperactive or inattentive. This disorder is often confused with ADHD, especially in preschool children, whose sensory integration difficulties undermine self-control. A child with a sensory integration disorder may be distressed by loud noises, bright lights, rough textures, or smells, or conversely, may need to handle things, hang upside down, or shout boisterously. For an excellent discussion of sensory integration disorder, read Carol Stock-Kranowitz's book, The Out-of-Sync Child. Each of the disorders described here could potentially be found along with ADHD, in which case both disorders need to be treated. Without a question, ADHD is a major health epidemic facing children. The Center for Disease Control and the World Health Organization have both affirmed this fact. In the midst of managing this crisis, we've got to work hard to resist one-size-fits-all thinking. Let's make sure children's behavior is carefully evaluated and understood within a social and emotional context. If you were the person being treated, you wouldn't expect or accept anything less.